Welcome to the next video. In this video, we're going to cover trading channels. We're going to dive into the charts and show you exactly how to find profitable channels to trade off of. So getting started, as we know, there are three different types of channels. We have an ascending channel, we have a descending channel, or a sideways channel. Now, there are a couple different ways that you can profit out of channels. You can buy at the support or sell at the resistance. As we know, channels are just made up of support and resistance lines. You can also find continuation and reversal patterns within the channels to signal a trade. And then finally, you can trade the breakout of the channel. Channel trading in Forex allows a better perspective of the market structure compared to merely trading with just trend lines. Long and short positions are initiated at the top and bottom ends of the channel. Depending on the slope of the channel itself, alternatively, traders can also be initiated into trades when the channel is broken and successfully retested for support and resistance. So the breakout of the channel you can also trade. Now, channels are nothing but support and resistance levels plotted in a slope. Looking at the example on the screen, we can notice that after using the high-low, high swing points, a downslope or a downtrend channel is plotted. Notice how the swing points show a confluence with past horizontal support and resistance level. So notice when the channel is going down or up, it will kind of get rejected off of past support and resistance levels or zones that we look at. So that's another way where you can find good trades within a channel. The end of a channel comes with a channel breakout, which is likely to lead to a counter trend price move in the direction of the break. Now, drawing a channel is very easy. Here's how. First, you need to identify the points where you start drawing your channels from. These are number 1 and 2 and sometimes 3 on the charts above. You need a minimum of 2 to 3 points to be able to verify an accurate channel. Step 2, next, you connect these 3 points with a trend line. And then 3, that's it. As you can see, you just formed a trend line. Now with the channel, you're going to want to make sure your lines are exactly parallel to each other. If the lines are not parallel, it is not considered a channel. How do you trade a channel? Trading a channel is also very easy. Here are the steps. First, once you draw your channel based on the 2 to 3 points of both sides of the channel, you wait for price to come to either one of these channel lines, whether it's the support line or the resistance line. Step 2, once price touches the channel lines, you open a trade based on what side of the channel line price touches. If the channel line price touches on the support, you place a buy. If the price touches on the resistance, you place a sell. On the screen, you can see examples of what we're talking about here. So next, let's dive into where to place a stop loss and how much of a stop loss is required when trading channels. Going into it, placing a stop loss is very easy. Just place your stop losses outside of the channel lines. Now you might ask, how many pips? Well, your stop loss should be determined by the time frame you're trading on. If you're trading on the 5-minute charts, place your stop loss 10 to 15 pips outside of the channel line. If you're trading on the 1 hour or 4 hours, you should more be looking at 20 to 50 pips outside the channel line. Now, it goes back to all your risk to reward ratios when trading channels. Now, remember, if you place a stop loss too close to the channels, any false breakouts, which we will see, price could spike up or spike down, and then guess what happens? You get stopped out. So you kind of want to leave some room for your trade to breathe, if that makes sense. Now, how do you set take profit levels? Here's a couple different options on setting take profits levels. First one is set your profit target based on the length of the channel in pips or zones. Even if you want to look at the zones, you can place a stop loss or take profit, based on upcoming zones that you see. You can also set a take profit halfway point through the channel. So if a channel is 100 pips, you could set a take profit at 50 pips. Next, you could take profit 3 times on the amount at risk. For example, if your stop loss is 20 pips, then set your take profit at 60 pips. Now, what's the best way to manage a trade once you're in a channel? So there's a couple different ways to do this as well. When price moves by the same amount you risk, move your stop loss to break even. Now, sometimes price will be so volatile in channels that it will bounce back and hit your stop loss. So this is why we always like to place a stop loss a little in profit or close to break even. Now, obviously, if you were in a 100 pip channel as well, and you've moved 75 pips, maybe place your stop loss at 50 so you'll secure the bag. Remember, just securing the bag and winning trades is the best thing that you can do, and it's the thing that we're here to teach you and how to do. Now, remember, once again, when price reaches the support line in a channel, it confirms the price movement up. Price reaches the resistance line, it confirms price move down. Buy or sell when you see the breakout of the channel price with the confirmations. Now, like we said earlier, a breakout is typically counter trend. And going into it, you can also buy or sell in between the channel with continuation signals. So for example, if we are in a ascending channel and we're in the middle of a channel, we see a bullish flag, then that will tell us it's continuation. So we could buy in the middle of the channel, etc. Kind of going off that, this is where it goes back to knowing your continuation or reversal signals, because we can use those with trading channels. Now let's get to wrap it up for this part of the video. Let's dive into the charts and show you more on channels. All right, guys, so let's dive into the charts and trading channels. So as you can see, I have some channels on the charts right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and remove those. So like we were saying, there's a couple different ways you can draw channels. So first we're gonna head over to the trend line. And remember, when finding a channel within the markets and the charts, we're trying to look for 2 or more points where the price touches these lines. So easy way to do that is either take your drawing pen or your trend line tool and just essentially find trend lines. Now you can come and take this up. Obviously, as you guys you can see right now, this is not a valid channel. The reason being is the lines are not parallel. But if we can adjust them a little, let's move this to there, here to here. Let's see how this looks. Now that looks pretty parallel. So that's one way you can draw channels, is directly with your trend line. But if we head over on to the trend line area tool, we can scroll down and find parallel channel. This is something you might want to favorite, because watch when I do this. I can draw up the line and move the parallel channel. It forms it for you and shows you exactly where the channel is. So we can come in here and remove these trend lines, just because we have our official parallel channel tool. And let's show you one more time on how to access the parallel channel tool. So you go over here where the trend line is, scroll down, parallel channel tool. All you have to do is drag, and boom. Now obviously you can come in here and adjust your lines. So we have it. So looking at this pair, right now we're looking at GA, GBP odd on the 4 hour. Drawing up a parallel channel. So as you can see, we have a touch right here. We have multiple touches here. Another touch here. Touch here. Touch here. And then if you look, price is pretty close to touching the zone over here, and it does right here actually. Then we have a touch here, touch here. And we didn't quite touch all the way, but we're still going up to that point, and we can expect price to move to the top of this channel. So I'm gonna go back and delete all those circles real quick. Now remember, the more touches your channel has, the better and the more accurate it's going to be. So let me get rid of all of these real quick and we will move forward. Okay, now that I've got all those removed, let's look on how to trade a channel. So I'm going to do the replay real quick. So as you can see, we just erased all the market data that has previously happened real quick. Let's go ahead and play. So obviously the channel is not formed yet as We have not broken into it. So we're currently moving in the channel. Now, the other thing to remember is with channels, you can often see channels inside of channels or continuation or reversal patterns that you'll look for in the channels. So there we have our first touch. Now I can obviously move this up just slightly. So we've got touch 1. This could be multiple touches right here. Let me move it up just a little. Right there's some more touches. So there's your touches that confirm your channel for here. And like I was saying, we have multiple channels within a channel. So if we go back to this channel line, what we can do is actually show you how there's a miniature channel within this channel. See, we have one touch here, we have a touch here, we have a touch here, and we almost have a touch here. Not quite yet, but we have it. So right here, we have a channel inside this overall bigger channel that we're looking at as well. Now, to edit all of your channel settings, what you can do is just click on the channel you're editing, and you can come in here and change the color. So let's change it to yellow just so we're looking at that. You can change the width of your lines, your settings to which visibility it shows up. So if you only want it to show it up on the 1 hour to 24 hours, you can do that here. If you want to show up on the minutes, you can do it here. You can look at your channel colors, your background, all of that. You can all edit right in here. So continuing the replay, as we know, when it reaches the top of the channel, that shows us that it's going to sell. So just looking at it right here, if I move the price back just a little bit, so let's look at the replay again real quick. So as you can see, we have price moving right here. Since the channel is confirmed, we expect to place a sell when it hits here, and when it hits down here, a buy. So right here would be a buy. You see that? Let's zoom in and watch that once again. See how on the bigger trend we moved up and hit the bigger trend line? So this is where it comes back to time frames. Now on the bigger trend, I was looking at a daily. So this bigger trend is overall the daily. So drawing up right now, with this ascending channel confirmed, we would place a buy here. What exactly happened? Bang, shot up. Here, now remember, you always want to look for candlesticks and pattern formations to continue the signal. Now, you would obviously be looking for a sell right here, but you waited for the breakout of the channel. So notice how it broke out to the top side of the channel to go to the higher time frame. Remember, the higher the time frame, the more accurate the chart's going to be. So in this miniature, the lower time frame channel, we actually broke it to go to the top side of the overall daily channel. Now, what do you see right here? Inside the bigger channel, let me get rid of that real quick, my bad. Hopping to the daily real quick. And I'm going to show you real quick. I'm going to change the settings so I don't see this channel on the daily. Just give me 1 second. What the heck? Oh, there we go. So now you can see this channel is on the daily, looking into higher time frames. So if you look real close, what do we have forming right here? Falling wedge. Now remember, in a falling wedge, in an uptrend, it means buy. So let's continue the replay and see what happens here. So yes, we did get stuck in a little of a drawdown in the falling wedge, but that happens sometimes. This would have been your time that you wait, and you would have got in the falling wedge on what we've taught you more here. So here we saw the breakout of the falling wedge. Let me fix the lines So we continued the falling wedge down. We saw the breakout, bang. Once it broke out of the falling wedge, we saw that buy to go up. In this example, we went for, of the breakout of the falling wedge, roughly, we would just say, let's say 600 to 750 pips, which is obviously a lot. Now, this did take roughly 2.5 weeks, I would just guess, looking at the candles, but that's 700 pips just on one pair. That's a lot. So, like I said earlier, you can trade the bottom of the channel to the top of the channel to the bottom, but also you can trade continuation patterns and reversal patterns in the middle of the channel. Now, remember how we have that smaller channel line in here? Let's see, I believe it was more like this. It was somewhere on the line there. Look at that. So we had the false breakout of the smaller channel, and then we got rejected on the top of here. This would have been a really good buy, considering the rejection off the trend line and the falling wedge signal to the move to the top. Let's continue the replay to see what happens. So, bang. Look, we instantly get rejected off the support level in this channel. What keeps happening? We go for a buy. Now, obviously, we're looking at a higher time frame. In this example right here, just right here, that's 456 pips. That is a lot, guys. If you could catch 456 pips on one single pair in a week, that is a really, really, really good trade. Imagine doing that on 3 or 4 different trades. You're up 2,000 pips on just 2 or 3 to 4 different pairs. As we can see, the price even kept moving up. So let's continue the replay and see what happens. And the replay is now ended. This is where we're currently at in the market. So, like we were saying earlier, you'll see your higher highs and higher lows being formed at past zones. So if we look right here, bang. If we look right here, bang. Right now, we're kind of at a zone on the current market right now. So what we can expect to happen here within this specific channel is we have a break of it, coming up, doing something like this, and then moving to the top. So this is where we would want to find our continuation signal. So maybe another falling wedge or a pennant or anything that continues the market to the top side. Now, we also could see the rejection come like this. Once we do see a breakout of this channel, we're going to wait for a retest of the channel right here, and that's when we could confirm a sell. Now, like we said earlier, a breakout of the channel is counter channel trend. So if we're in an ascending channel, you'll most likely see a breakout to the downside. If we are in a descending channel, we're going to see a breakout to the upside. Okay, so now we're looking at gold on the 1 hour. As you can see, I have a sideways channel marked up. I'm going to change the colors real quick to blue just because I personally like it better and can visualize it and see it more. So as you can see, we don't have an ascending or descending channel formed. We have a sideways channel formed. So just moving in the replay, let's start right here. So obviously we can't see that a channel is formed yet, but market is moving. And notice how I have a trend line drawn up here from previous market data as well. You'll see why I have that done here in a minute. So we have one touch right there. We have touches here. Just letting the market. We have another touch. We have our sideways channel confirmation right here from these 2 points. And then we have a touch here. So this channel is now confirmed. So let's just watch and what plays out within this channel. So we have our touches that confirm the channel. Now remember, when we see a price movement touch on the top, we're expecting a sell. Now, when we see price touch the bottom, we're expecting a buy. Let's watch what happens. Bang. So we've seen the market move from this top touch all the way down to the bottom side. Sorry, it's a very bad arrow, but we had a touch here. So we could have took a sell position right here down to a take profit level within here. And if you caught in the middle of this channel from the top, you could have caught safely, I would say 300, 400 pips within this channel. Now, moving this out of the way, let's continue the replay. Bang. So look, we have another touch right here. Let's watch what happens. We see a giant spike up after that touch. Look at this right here, this whole movement. After we've seen the touch, let me zoom in just a little bit more. After this previous touch right here that we were looking at, we placed a buy. So you caught this, and then right here you could look at and consider this a falling wedge, which is a continuation signal. So we see a movement to the upside. In this, if you caught safely from here, you're looking at 120 pips all the way to where market's at now, 300 pips. Let's see what keeps happening. Okay, so we got stopped out. We're moving down, moving down. Now remember, like we said earlier, you're also finding your previous data from zones. So you're going to come and draw these over just like I did with this trend line, because this will show you where price is going to get stopped out and have trouble breaking. So somewhere in that range we have one. Right here we have one. Let me just change the colors of these real quick just so you can easily see them. And remember, with these channels, you're going to have some false breakouts of them, which this is why we have a closer stop loss. So, and for this example, this is the type of position you would have. We'd place a short position, entry once we have the breakout right here. Our stop loss would be around, let's say, let me move this up. We could have a stop loss like that, and we could have a take profit 1, take profit 2, and take profit 3 right here. So you have 3 different positions that you could hold. Risk to reward is a 2.94. If I move it down, you could do a 3-to-1. Okay, but jumping back to where market's at now, let's watch this replay. So see, this is a prime example of a false breakout right here. I'll change the color just so you can also see this a little bit more. Bang, we have a false breakout. This is why if, one, you want to wait for the confirmation for the move down. Always wait for the confirmation. That is a terrible arrow again. But remember, always wait for the confirmation. So it's a candlestick, and that way you wouldn't be in this trade when the false breakout does happen. So let's continue the replay. Now we see it. So zooming in, we could look at it a little. We could look at the trade just a little bit more. See how we have this bearish engulfing candle right here? It's hard to see in this very high time frame. Well, not. We had the confirmation, and we're now sitting at the zone. So we have a sell confirmation. What happens? Continuing the replay, bang, we have our sell. This is probably a 100 pip movement plus. Now we have a retest of the zone, sell, bang. Now we have a triple top right here, double top. Coming back, we're playing in the middle of the channel. Now, remember how I said you can trade the tops of the channels in the middle of the channel? Look at all of this right here. We have actually a triple bottom right here. We have 1 touch, we have 2 touches, and we have 3 touches. This confirms the sell to go up. So this was the reversal signal within the middle of the channel. Continuing down, what do you see happen? Bang, we hit this zone and close to the trend line from previous data way back here. That's why you also draw up other channels and trend lines, because you could see, I could even move this up just a little. You can see how we touched this line closely, or we at least got the zone, which sent us up to the top of the channel. This is an example where you would not be expecting price to move down here because there's such a trend line, strong trend line right in this area. So price moved up. We had another false breakout, but if you're looking at the higher time frames, 1 top, 2 tops, and almost even 3 tops just because of this right here. I would consider this a large triple top or a double top right here. So we have a sell. Confirmation, we had a breakout of the channel, and obviously this is a trade that we necessarily wouldn't get right all the time just because we did have that breakout to the top side. Remember, that's always okay. This is something that I just kind of wanted to show that you're not always going to get all the trades right, and this is where you would have a stop loss to protect you. Let's pull it out and continue to watch what happens. now we're in the current market stage. So we've seen the skyrocket way out of the channel. Now like I said earlier, channels are normally counter trends. So when you see an ascending channel, you're going to see a move to the downside. When you see a descending channel, you're going to move to the upside since it's counter channel. But obviously there's no trend direction with a sideways channel, so we can see a breakout to the top or a breakout to the downside. This is exactly what happened in this example. We saw that giant breakout to the top side and we moved up a lot. That's going to wrap it up for the chart analysis on channels. So remember, you can always trade the middles of the channels with continuation patterns and reversal patterns. You can trade the actual channel lines, the support and resistance, with buys or sells, and that's pretty much the gist of it.